All right, so what's up, guys? So we are out here on another run, running and juggling and doing this nonsense for all you wonderful people to watch and enjoy. And you know, a big problem of mine growing up, right, was this fear or a lack of confidence, in a sense, when it comes to public speaking. Oh my God, that thing, when I would have a speech or a presentation, I would be scared out of my mind, right? I wouldn't know what to do. And you know, for me, it was the worst thing in the world. For others, I could watch them and, you know, you could tell they loved it, right? I hated it. I dreaded the idea of doing it. But as I grew older and I started doing it more and more, I felt more comfortable getting up in front of people and expressing my thoughts through words, because that's what it is. When you go up there, you have things on your mind, right? Everyone does, right? That's what your brain does. It has thoughts. And essentially when you get up and talk, it's just you communicating those things, right? Those thoughts, those, you know, passing messages through your brain. And for you, you might want to figure out, you know, how to get better at that, how to get better at being a public speaker. And don't worry, because over the years, I've accumulated a few tips and tricks for you all to enjoy. So we got 4 tips to improve your public speaking. And tip number 1, very straightforward, simply breathe. Right? I don't know how many of us, especially me growing up, I forgot to breathe. Right? As easy, as simple as it sounds, right? It's the most basic biological action, right, that we do. We're put on this earth to take in oxygen and release carbon dioxide. So plants like these can take in that CO2 and give back more oxygen, right? That's what our purpose is, essentially, on this planet, besides reproduction and so forth. So, you know, for you, if you're holding back on that, right, or you're forgetting to breathe simply, it's gonna make your speaking a lot worse, right? It's gonna harm it. You're gonna have no substance behind your voice, and you're gonna be able, you know, you're not gonna be able actually to simply relax and calm down, right? Because you will be depriving your body of oxygen, right? And it's gonna freak out, right? From that alone, try holding your breath for a couple minutes, right? And see how you feel, right? You're gonna get tense, you're gonna get nervous, you're gonna freak out, you're gonna feel weak, right? And how can you actually, you know, throw in a speech while you're in that state, right? So a lot of it boils down to that simple act of breathing, right? In through your nose, out through your mouth, right? And use that diaphragm, right? You want your belly to go out when you're breathing in and out, and go back towards you when you're breathing out, right? Use your diaphragm, but it has nothing to do with your shoulders, right? Breathing doesn't have anything to do with it, right? If you're doing it like that, you're probably breathing the wrong way. So use that belly, right? If you can, a trick that I do is to put a hand on my belly, right? Even while you're speaking, you could put like a finger there. And what it'll make it you do is you'll forget a lot of times about the nerves and, you know, actually feeling the pressure to perform in the speech, right? You'll be focusing on pressing against your finger with your belly, which is going to make you, you know, actually breathe through your diaphragm. It's a little trick that I've learned, and the audience probably won't be able to pick up on that, right? It'll be a subtle thing that you could do, or even at least when you're practicing, when you're rehearsing. So, and that brings us to point number 2, and that is to practice, right? If it's a speech that you got to do, lines that you got to learn, you got to do those things over and over and over again, right? Till you become literally sick of it, right? When that time comes where you're supposed to explain something, you know it left, right, north, and south. You know everything about it. So by the time you get up on stage and you do it, it'll be just like another practice attempt, right? Or trial, right? Like Kobe, right? Shooting his free throws, right? When it goes and shoots his thousands of free throws in practice, he does it on purpose, because when he goes to the game, the free throws become like any other free throw, because he's done it so many times that when you throw in 40,000, 50,000 screaming people that want him to fail, essentially, if he's on the road, he's not, moved by that. It's not a distraction. And, just by simply, working on that, working on his craft, doing the same motions over and over again, he'll be able to do those same motions when he's up in front of people, because it's, if you think about it, it's the same exact thing, right? As in practice, as when you get up there and talk. Obviously, you have, people watching you. You feel the need, to not mess up, look like a fool in front of them, because if you mess up in practice, no one's gonna see you. But, if you practice the right way, right, and that goes into point number 3, and that is proper practice, right? Actually force yourself to go through the motions as if there's people watching you, right? Record yourself giving that talk, right? Because what it's gonna do, it's gonna force you to try your absolute best, right? Because I don't know about you, but when you sit back and look through that footage, I don't like to see myself look bad, right? When you look back, you're gonna notice little things and little quirks that, you essentially are doing, right? Weird things with your mouth, weird things with your legs, with your arms, whatever. And, from that, you are gonna notice particular tricks that you could do, right? Places to put your hands and so forth, right? If you don't know where to put your hands, what you can do, instead of keeping them open, is ball them into a fist, right? It's gonna give your hands something to do when you feel like you have no idea, what do I do with my hands, where do I put them? And what you can do is just, ball them up into a fist on your sides, right? Leave them hanging down in a fist. And the simple act of putting them into that fist is going to distract you from worrying about what to do with them, because you are essentially doing something. You're fisting them up, and it looks a lot better, a lot tougher, a lot more composed than if you just left them hanging on the sides freely, right, with your hands open, right? They're gonna wonder what's going on, right? So essentially, you can take that trick, and there's plenty of other different little quirks that you can do, right? Stand with your feet shoulder length apart, right? That's a big one, right? You don't want them together, right? Because that'll look funky. You want to, stand almost not too wide, but just mirror your shoulder length, right? Where are your shoulders? Where's your left shoulder? Put a foot there. Where's your right shoulder? Put a foot there. And simply just stand there, right? And hold your ground, because you own it, right? It's your stage. It's for you to kill it, right? You got to do your best. So why not own that, right? Whether you like it or not, you got to do it and deliver when asked. And this brings us to point number 4, or tip number 4. In order to improve your public speaking, as funny as it may sound, you may think about the speech entails simply, just by giving your words, right? Your words matter so much. Yes, they do. But a lot of the speaking comes down to your body language. How are you expressing it? And one trick that I learned is to simply, yes, you can record yourself doing the speech, but watch it in silence, right? Watch it with the volume muted. And what that's going to teach you is how you are expressing your body. Right? Try to pick up on the same message that you're supposed to deliver in that speech without words. And if you're able to do so, right, you're indicating that you're happy about this certain accomplishment, right? When you go up to that point, right, you feel a genuine sadness, right? On certain points, right, you're reflecting on a sad story, right, of how you overcome whatever accomplishment you are going over. And if you're able to sit back and watch that same video without the sound and understand, or at least have a general idea of what's going on, that means you're doing good. Because if you're just standing up there stiff and motionless and monotone, you are gonna bore the audience. They're gonna get tired of you. They're gonna walk out. They're gonna pull out their phone and start texting. Right? And who wants that? So for you, right, and you can notice too, a lot of the great public speakers, if you watch them without any sound, or actors as well in movies, you can understand so much about what's going on without the sound, just by their body language alone, right? How they feel in that moment, and learn from that. Why? Right? Watch them, and you can almost mimic their body language, but find your own preferences by doing it yourself, recording yourself and watching with the sound off. And you know, for this, you know, 4 tips that we gave for your public speaking, I hope you're able to use them and learn from them, right? And deliver great speeches, right? Because that's something you've got to do if you want to become a great leader in this life, right? What's a great leader, you know, that can't give a public speech, right? They're few and far between. So for that, we say thank you and goodbye.